Hello, viewer. Well, it's -3 this morning, and the early morning light is quite good on the front of the house. So it's time to go inside and start work. You can see the ice on the roof over there, and all of the grass is frosted. Don't know whether you can see across the valley from here. Of course, it'll be straight into the sunlight, which won't be very good for the camera. But yeah, all the grass is very crunchy underfoot, which is all very attractive. Around the side, there's still a little pile of wood there, but I can probably fit that in the car without having to rent the flatbed again. And let's look on zooming that in just a bit. Just across over there, on the far side of the valley, you can see the church. And that's Savigny-le-Vieux. Hello, viewer. Well, today we'll take off this strip of plywood up here, and we have a laser level here, which we're going to throw a beam around. I'll probably put some masking tape around so I can mark it on the beams, and we'll use that line as a datum for assessing where the new ceiling level is going to go. And then we'll work it out from there. So the first things first, let's just get this off, and then we can see what's behind it. Well, we have. a wall plate at the front, and a wall plate at the back, with the big beam going front to back. On top of that, you've got the edge of the A-frame, which is mortised into the beam, and you have an infill and that infill is what the roof joists are resting on. So what I'm proposing is take off all the joists, get rid of that infill, and then raise the infill to a new height, probably about 50 centimetres up from where it is at the moment. That'll take it to more or less a normal sort of 8-foot ceiling. So I'm going to switch on the level and mark out some datum lines on this beam and on the one that you're directly underneath. And then we can start working out how far we can raise it, because where we can raise it depends on where the inside skins of the wall are going to be and where the insulation is and where the loft is. So I'll move the camera to the halfway point, right down the centre of the ridge of the roof, and we can start discussing what the roof's going to look like and what this new ceiling is going to look like. Right. Okay. So you can now see the beam, and over, let's see if we can make this work. Over there, you can see one edge of the A-frame, and the other edge of the A-frame is just over there. Now, if I'm very clever, I might be able to put an overlay on this image to show you the beam and the A-frame. So obviously, the higher that we raise these joists, the more the A-frame constricts it. So this new cross piece that we put up there, it's going to be resting on this main beam, either by a couple of sort of legs or by jointing it into the king post, which is here. So we can joint it into the king post or joint it either side of the king post, have it running right the way across and have it supported at either end. And that will then be a new beam across there, which the joists will all butt up to. And I say butt up to because I'm not going to have the same arrangement here where the beam is visible underneath the ceiling and the joists are above. We're going to have the joist is actually going to be above the plasterboard ceiling height, and all of these joists will run into those little metal brackets on the side of the joists. So the whole of the ceiling here, wall to wall, will be smooth, and you'll have a beam sitting forehead height, and then there'll be a gap with a couple of supports either side and the king post in the middle as the only visible means of supporting the roof. And then from the wall plate, which is just over here, from the wall plate, the inside plasterboard face will go up at an angle to meet the ceiling. That's the plan. So in order to do that, all of these floorboards, which are the floorboards of the loft space, they're nailed to the joists. So the floorboards have to come up, the joists have to go, the cross piece has to go, then we've got just bare space with the beam. Then we can start working up. So I'm going to start throwing some tape onto the beams, put a line around, and then we've got something to work from. Well, that's a start. So I've got some points all around on the two beams. Obviously the beams are relatively straight. Well, actually that was a bit more like a banana. But anyway, all we really need is to joint the new joists into the king post and on a support at the far side, and then it'll be held laterally by all of the ceiling joists that butt up to it, so the joist can't fluctuate, can't move. And then all of the side panels, with all the insulation behind it, can come up to the new ceiling. Loads of insulation. Right. Well, amusingly, having put the laser line there and measured up to the current ceiling height, over there it's 32 centimetres from the laser line, which is level, up to the ceiling, and over here it's 35, so the ceiling isn't level. Well, never mind. But we will fix that. Let's go up into the loft and see what this lot looks like above what you can see here. So let's go up into the loft. Now, to get up into the loft, we go up that ladder, which admittedly is balancing right on the edge of a rather precarious hole, but that's fine. Live a little. And up into the loft. This is the party wall between the new end and the barn. And as we turn around, so that's the front roof, and that's a view down the loft of the new end. You can see at the far end the wall is a bit wet because there's some leakage coming through. So we'll have to fix that. But what you can also see is that there is the king post and some struts off of it that are supporting the side pieces of a lettrier, and you've got a purlin going along here and another purlin going along here, which that is just about adequate spacing for a roof as far as the French are concerned. These purlins, or pan as they are in French, they are supposed to be 1.5 meters, 2 meters max apart. So we're okay here. It's a 6 meter length of roof. That length from the ridge down to the gutter is 6 meters. So 2 purlins is okay. 2 purlins and a wall plate. So whilst we're up in the loft, let's have a quick peek through the square window into the upstairs of the barn. So you can see that this is what the upper mezzanine looks like now. That whacking great big door, I'll show you a picture of that. That whacking great big door is now down at ground level. You can just about see it down there. That's the old bathroom block. Still a bit of hay on the top of this wall and on top of the wall plate over there. Rubble, rubble, rubble. Lots of holes in the roof. A couple of nasty cracks in the wall. Bit of hay on that wall plate. And then back round to here. So this, if I lean through, this party wall is a sort of colombage, torchis type of affair. So that's going to have to be, all of this torchis here is going to have to be pushed off, got rid of. The frame itself, the wood frame, will suffice for a support for a wall of sorts. We need to have some sort of a wall. Obviously, the new ceiling height is going to come up sort of here-ish, I suppose. But you've still got all of this space above, which is going to be empty, and it'll be a cold loft. So we need to have that wall insulated somehow from the barn, because the barn we still plan to have full height. So that's going to be kind of interesting. So you can see that it's got another one of these king posts in the center and sort of an A-frame. I suspect what we're going to end up doing is having probably OSB on this side, as much insulation as we can pack in on the other, in between, and then plasterboard on the other side for the barn. But we'll just have to, we'll have to look at the wall plate down there where the stone finishes. And I suspect we might make the inside of the barn wall continue on from the edge of that wall plate. So that means we've probably got about 40 centimetres thickness of wall to fill with insulation. That should be enough. Right, time for me to go downstairs.